Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. It's not Friday. Spoiler alert. It's Thursday. You boys a day early this week. You know why? Reasons, that's why. We got to talk about stuff that went down last night on Hump Day. Yes. Awesome stuff. And also, I got stuff to do tomorrow. I'm a busy guy. You know what I mean? So I got to make this thing happen today, but I'm going to make it happen with guests. Don't you worry. It's all going to be fun. So there you go. Let's see who decided to join us and who saw the announcements that I made for 2 straight days. We were going to be a day early. Let's hope that somebody's here. It's boring if no one's here. I mean, we still do it. But it's not the same. Carlos Martinez, what's up? Sugar Shane in the house. Ray Dean, who perhaps could be an Adam Cole fan, but I'm not sure. Jamel in Vegas, what's up? Belinda, what's going on? Mark, yes, sir, we're a day early. Jumping Jeff Sharma. Everyone congratulate Jeff. Just had a newborn. I mean, Jeff didn't have the newborn. I mean, I'm just saying. But like Jeff's wife, is it? Jeff's other half had the newborn. Congratulations, my friend. Beautiful baby you got there. Toby, what's going on? How you doing, my friend? Timothy Gonzalez, what's going on? Had a blast last night. Hello, Frank. How are you, my friend? Let's see. Someone else spoiling the party. James says, hello. How you doing? Good to see you. James says it's not Friday. Shut up. Yeah, you're right. It's not Friday. Good God. I got to get this thing fixed. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, my friend? The Fat Man. I don't know if you've ever watched the show before, but that's the best handle ever. Everyone say hello to the Fat Man. Dude, if you and I are not friends on the Facebook, let's make that happen because I dig the handle. What's up, Will? Happy Thursday to you as well. Yes, we're going to get into it. Today's an AEW heavy episode of Tom Clark's Main Event. Do I look tired? I look like I haven't slept in a day. It was a late night last night, kids. I'm just saying. But it's all good. Let's get our guest. Did I sing Judas last night, Tim asked? Did I sing Judas? I sang so loud. Everyone around me said, good God, bravo, Tom. That is, right? They didn't really do that. But in my head, they did. You know how you sing in the shower and you think you sound like, Sinatra? And really, you sound like Iggy Pop. No disrespect to Iggy Pop. That was kind of me, I guess. But I still had a blast. Yes, I sang Judas. I sang my private parts way off. I keep it clean here, kids. Let's put people on the screen and hope that stuff works. Because I like when stuff works. First of all, we're going to say hello to Troy Grant from the Untitled Wrestling Podcast.
Yes, boy.
What's up, Troy?
What's up?
All right, we're going to try this, and if we screw it up, we're going to fix it. We screwed it up. Phil, don't go anywhere. Let's try it again. First, let's say hello to Phil. Rewind. From Bleacher Report, also from Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. If you're thinking that's dead sexy, brother, you're right. How's it going, Phil?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, man. Now stuff works. I get so giddy when stuff works. Guys, thanks for joining the feed again. I appreciate both of you as always. How's everybody doing today, man? How are you guys doing so far today?
Excited for our NBA draft. There's also wrestling tonight because there's always wrestling, apparently. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Troy, right now, it's 5:07 your time. You've had a full day. Full day. So I, on the other hand, I'm still trying to get the sleep out of my eyes, but it's all good. And I've been up, dude. I've been up since 7, but I've got that CM Punk look where like you feel you're like, does Punk ever go to bed? Because he looks like he's, you know what I mean. Oh, by the way, folks, it's a CM Punk heavy episode of the show today for a lot of good reasons that we're going to get into. So let's get the ticker ticking. There she is. Episode 236, kids. We're 36 weeks removed from the 200th anniversary of our show. So I am all kinds of happy about that. Before we go much further, this is a topic that's going to be near and dear to Troy because he's going to have merch to sell very soon, hopefully. Shop for podcast stuff. And I'm telling you right now, if you need some stuff to buy, check it, okay? All you guys to do, tinyurl.com/Tom Clark Pods, Pods. You get access to redbubble.com. You can buy t-shirts, cups, magnets, which I don't have to show you, hoodies, which I don't have to show you, a plethora of items there at your fingertips. I've always got to try to make some money here, kids. Don't fall to Hustler for hustling. There you go. I really don't make any money off of it. It's like that much. It's a drop in the bucket. And Troy, when you guys start your own shop, you'll be sitting back going, I can't believe how much money we're not making, guys. Don't get the calculators out. It's really not. But it's all about getting the logo out there and getting people talking. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do it for the love, not for the money.
I like where your head's at. It's until it's time to pay the bills. And then I'm like, where's the money? So
Yeah.
there you go. Let's lead off with a massive headline. And if you didn't watch Dynamite last night, spoilers are coming your way, Jack. We had some big news coming out of the show last night, guys. And one of the biggest, and Phil, we're going to start with you, brother. I've been seeing you online talking about this stuff, and some great points being made by Mr. Lindsey himself. Rampage is coming to the United Center, paired with Darby Allin's Best in the World comments. Phil, if any of us thought, and I did, that Friday Rampage was not going to be a throwaway show, but kind of going to be like a ... after Dynamite kind of thing, dude, I think they've proved us wrong. Talk to me about United Center and what it means for this company and a certain guy. What do you think?
Listen, I was as skeptical as the next guy about CM Punk signing because we've all been hoping this thing's going to happen for 7 years, but I think it's happening. It has to be happening. I mean, you don't book United Center just for anything. And to put this in perspective, the last time WWE did a big show at the United Center, I think was 94, right? Wow. I think SummerSlam 94 or something like that. And they've done house shows there, but they haven't done like pay-per-views or like anything television related there since the early 90s. So wow. To come to United Center, it's a big deal. And it's mostly because the United Center is expensive. Like every time people come here, like WWE goes to Allstate, and that's not technically in Chicago, it's in Rosemont. United Center's in the city. It's like, iconic Bulls Stadium. So to pick the United Center and do it with 2 weeks notice, there's no way they're not doing something big. It's not possible. Like you wouldn't book the United Center at last minute like this if you didn't have something humongous planned. And you don't get much bigger than CM Punk in his hometown, not in Hoffman Estates, folks, in the city of Chicago. It feels like this is Punk's debut.
Troy, we've got a lot of comments here. One from Christopher Aaron. Chris, I don't know if you've ever watched the show before, my friend, but thank you for tuning in. Please follow the show. It'd be greatly appreciated. He says, I wish CM Punk hadn't been spoiled. The pop would still be huge, but it would have been mind-blowing for Cult of Personality to hit out of nowhere. I agree with him. However, in 2021, yes, you can still hide stuff for that long, but for somebody as high profile as Punk's not just a pro wrestling guy. Punk's an all-around mainstream character, in my opinion, personality now. You can only hide it for so long. You think it was possible they could hide it this whole time, or just go ahead and tease it and let it out there?
No, I think with someone, as to your point, like someone like CM Punk that almost transcends wrestling and is out there doing like film and TV and stuff like that, it's very, very difficult to keep something like that under wraps. It's difficult enough to keep anything a surprise in wrestling generally, let alone something like CM Punk. Whilst I agree, and whilst it would have been nice to not know anything and it be an absolute spoiler, and it be an absolute surprise, it still won't take away the fact that he's pretty much going to be there. Still not confirmed. We won't know today, but it feels as good as done. And it still won't take away the pop that he gets and the excitement and the intrigue that brings. But yeah, as I say, it's difficult to keep anything a secret. And on the rare occasions where it does absolutely come out of the blue, and most recent being, say, Aleister Black or Malachi Black, yes, everyone kind of had an inkling he was going to go there at some point, but the manner in which it happened and how soon it happened was a surprise. So whilst we may still be able to say, yes, such and such is going to end up here, so it's a matter of when and how they do it is how the surprise happens now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Ahead, if you're going to sell United Center, that's 20,000 plus seats. You kind of have to start teasing this to sell some tickets, sir. I mean, I would love for it to be a surprise, but you don't get the pop that you're probably going to get if you don't start teasing it ahead of time and get people in those seats.
Mm-hmm.
They'll still pop. It'll still be.
It's going to be an enormous pop. It's Chicago. It's Punk. We haven't seen the guy in 7 years. It's going to be an enormous pop, regardless.
Phil, let me ask you, brother. You're in Chicago. Is this a big deal locally? Like, did your local sports, would they cover a headline like this? Are they grabbing hold of it? The local papers grabbing hold of it? Is it going to be like, it's just beginning, but is it simmering already locally for you guys?
I haven't seen anything locally, but I have to imagine, because this is the first wrestling event in a long time coming in the United Center, I have to imagine it'll be covered at some point. And then, like I said, it's CM Punk. So if he does show up, it's going to be big news.
I agree with that totally. Let's see. Somebody was asking, WrestleMania 22, Robert says, was at the Allstate Arena. WrestleMania 22 was.
Yes, that wasn't United Center. That was Allstate Arena.
And somebody was saying that they thought that WCW was in the United Center in 98. I don't know if that's true or not. That seems on the tail end of their run. So
it possibly, I don't know offhand, but WCW did do shows in the city. So probably.
James says AEW trying to pull WWE fans over before SummerSlam. I happen to disagree with you, James, respectfully. I say that they got to strike while the iron's hot, and if now's the time, you go now. Don't wait till September. Why not just go? If you've got him in the bag, go now.
Yeah, you got to assume, because, I mean, it might be a knock at SummerSlam, but I really don't think it has much to do with SummerSlam. I think if you think we're going to possibly get locked down soon, and you might have to cancel your shows in Chicago, you saw what this did to all of your pops last year, because you didn't get the pop for Brody Lee. You didn't get the pop for Matt Hardy. You're trying to cover your bases and go, hey, let's try and get this show in Chicago in 2 weeks and maximize the pop we can get.
Williams says, remember when you said Punk wouldn't come to AEW? I do. I didn't think I'd ever see him come back to wrestling. Honestly, I didn't. I think I also always followed that up with, I hope I'm wrong at some point. I said he would never go back to WWE, and I believe that. I still believe that. I think there's too much that's been done to that guy. But yeah, you're right. I said I don't think he would ever come back.
You wouldn't have been the only one that said that either. Many a person said that.
And, you know, it's still part of me romanticizes the idea of, you know, I hate to use outdated Undertaker storyline reference, but as Punk as the gunslinger who hung his guns up a long time ago and walked away from the game and never came back, and now he's a legend or a myth instead of, you know, coming back out of retirement. But I don't know. So I'm anxious to see what happens. I'm sure he's still in great shape, and again, man, if this is something he didn't want to do, he wouldn't be there. Jamel says, I didn't think he would come back again either. Let's see. Ryan says, do you think AJ Lee comes with Punk to AEW? I mean, the door would be wide open. I don't know if she cares to wrestle again, Phil. What's your take on her maybe getting the women's division? You think that's going to happen maybe?
Well, I mean, she left for different reasons than he did. He was unhappy. Her reasons for leaving were injury related. So I don't know how much of that is she wants to still go, because she had like back or neck issues, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Carlos says, sorry guys, did you hear that AEW may be going back to no fans back in Jacksonville because the virus hurt it yesterday? I've not heard anything like that. Have you guys heard that?
Yeah. A couple of bits. There's a worry that there's going to be basically a repeat of the lockdown. I think there's a worry of rising cases again. They're going to have to go back behind closed doors. I think it was last night or earlier this morning. I read something like that.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, but that's why I said this. Having the show at the United Center is a great way to hedge your bets, just in case we go back into lockdown and they have to do no fans again. That way, you can already have that show in place. You can get the Chicago crowd and everything you want. Get everything you want out of the CM Punk debut, if it's happening. But I'm pretty sure it's happening.
Well, Khan said no comment. And if the answer is no, you just say no. You got no reason to say no comment if the answer is no. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong.
Punk could have easily squashed it a long time ago, and he hasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to go to your earlier point about events and promotions that have had stuff in the United Center, just had a look. WWE were there in 2018 for a live show, their Road to WrestleMania thing. But then previous to that, WCW taped Thunder and Nitro there in November of 2000. And before that, they did Spring Stampede in April of the same year.
There you go.
In 2000, when they're at the end of their rope and bleeding money, they spent, well, no wonder. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, my God. Wait, we're broke. We're broke. How much is it to run here? Like, you're broke. What are you doing? Like,
it should be noted that Nitro and Thunder taping had an attendance of 7,000. What's the attendance of the United Center? Like
23,000 or something
23,000. Even for Spring Stampede, they had 12.5. So it was hardly a sellout.
Ray says, do you see Punk being a face and taking on Omega or heel it up? Also, Adam Cole is king. Baby face all day. Okay.
All day.
I don't know on what planet, Phil, does he turn heel anytime soon?
He can possibly turn heel, but it won't be in the next few weeks. If he debuts, he's going to get cheered ridiculously. So there's no way you're going to be able to book him as a heel.
Toby, shut up, Toby.
Now,
can you imagine the pros between Punk and Kingston? What?
Now, if anybody can turn a crowd, I will give him this. If you do want to make him a heel, if anybody can turn a crowd, it's CM Punk.
So if you want to turn him heel, you put him with Kingston because Kingston, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, but I mean, I'm saying if you put him against Kingston or if you put him against somebody as beloved, like even Darby, there's a way to make him a heel in the Darby program.
Yeah.
Man. Gene says, Gene, thank you for joining us. Sorry I'm late. Still, Redbubble is not an overnight situation, kids. So you'll get your stuff, I promise you. If you have any issues, please push it back up to me and I'll let them know. No worries. Elvis with a quick random question. What if Lesnar shows up in AEW? Elvis, I would have said, and I think I did say, not to you, everybody's crazy for suggesting it. However, in 2021, I'm not going to say anything like that. I mean, honest to God, I wouldn't. I think he'd be crazy too. And I think Brock's people, whoever his agent is, remember when Bischoff described what they did when WCW exploded? It's like everyone's watching WWE and they made a loud noise and everybody went, oh, what's that? I kind of feel like AEW is the loud noise. And Brock's people went, what's going on? Hey, you want to go talk to him? I mean, I'm not saying it'll ever happen, but Troy, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you say that, and I saw something earlier on, and this could be absolute nonsense. But there was something that came out that I saw earlier this morning that apparently multiple MMA insiders on F4W and WON boards are apparently claiming that Lesnar has signed a deal to wrestle with someone other than WWE. I don't know how much truth there is in that. It could be absolute nonsense, but that was something I read about an hour or two ago on a few sites. So
interesting.
I don't know. I personally don't see him going anywhere else other than back to UFC or WWE. But
I agree.
I think all of us at one point said we'll never see CM Punk back in the ring at one point. And where are we now? I think a lot of us said you probably won't see Daniel Bryan outside of a WWE ring. And where are we now? So,
and that kids is what we like to call a segue. Because while we're all gushing over Punk, and deservedly so, we're kind of forgetting about good old Bryan Danielson, the artist formerly known as Daniel Bryan. We were kind of hearing that that's a done deal before we heard the Punk stuff last night. So I'll throw this to you guys again, because I think I threw it to you last week as well. Do you bring them in together now, or is it obviously now you're going to do this thing separately? What do you think, Phil?
Well, you've got some more shows coming up. If we don't get locked down again, I would say keep Bryant for some other shows because you can do a lot with CM Punk after that United Center show again if we don't get locked down. You've got all of the tapings around All Out. You've got All Out itself. You can use Punk to sell All Out and get buys and more tickets. But if you save Daniel Bryan for New York, you could sell tickets to that Arthur Ashe show, even though it's already sold out. But still, just giving those people at that crowd something to pop for and Daniel Bryan, I would wait.
What do you think, Troy?
I agree. Part of me thinks he comes out at All Out. But also I think that New York show is massive. That will be their biggest one, won't it? I don't know what comparison, like capacity of that and the United Center. Are they about the same?
I'm not sure. It's their first show in New York for sure, though. So
yeah. It would make sense to save him for that. It's yeah.
I mean, spiritually, and then Brody's from Rochester. You didn't get to get that Brody pop in New York in Rochester. It makes so much sense to bring Daniel Bryan and do it in New York.
And there's a connection between all three of these guys too. So I mean, I'm sure they would love to go on national TV and comment on Brody and everything. And wow, that'll make you sentimental if you think about it too much. Tim, I promise you we're going to get to Fight for the Fallen last night. I promise you. We'll see what happens, kids. I'm very interested to see how they handle this. I love both of these guys to death. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It's going to be weird trying to get used to calling him Bryan Danielson again. It's so weird how you get used to one thing. Like, I still can't get used to Malachi Black. I'm trying. But Aleister Black was – I never knew the guy when he was just Tommy End. That's 3 names to remember, man. That's a lot.
I remember when he showed up at the United Kingdom tournament. I think it was the first one, and I think he faced Pac. And they came out and announced him as Tommy End.
That's right.
Just before they signed him. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And I had never heard of him up until that point. But as soon as he came out, I was just like, I think I like this guy. I don't even know who he is. I've never seen him wrestle. Just looks good.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And before he opened his mouth, I thought he was British. I don't really have a reason for that, but the name Tommy End and the way he looked in my mind, plus it was WUK at the time, right?
Tommy End sounds like a character from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah,
from a Guy
there you
Ritchie
go.
Film.
The first time I heard him cut a promo, I'm like, he's not British. That's what? Like, I was kind of thrown for a loop. Let's see. Kids, while you're here, everybody hit that thumbs up and the big old stinking heart button. That'd be freaking great. I appreciate that. It makes me know you care. So there you go. Tim, I'm going to get to the results here shortly. I promise you. Let's see. David Down Under is joining us. David, how you doing? David just recently celebrated his birthday. Happy belated birthday to you, David. And whoever else is watching today. Yes. Okay. Speaking of Fight for the Fallen, let's get to some Fallout. Here's some Fallout coming directly from the show, not just the CM Punk stuff at the United Center, hopefully. Lance Archer versus the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, at New Japan Resurgence August 14th. When Tana's face showed up, everybody in that crowd went, "Oh my God!" Like I was doing it, right? I just couldn't help it. I'm such a typical freaking fanboy. I can't help myself. But man, talk to me, Troy, about Tana. I mean, it's not an AEW, but he showed up on the screen for the second time because he congratulated Jericho on his anniversary in the business.
Yeah.
But man, again, doors being opened between companies. I love it.
It's coming off the hinges, isn't it? It's just, yeah, I'm marked out as well. Like Tanahashi, love him. Not that it makes any difference to me because I'm in the UK. A little part of me was hoping that he would be in the States, but obviously travel restrictions here, they're in place. Like, I understand, but just, it's amazing. Love him. Beautiful man. Superb head of hair.
Still, like it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not entirely convinced it's all his. No one has hair that good. But it's awesome. This will be really, really fun. This would be really good. Very much.
Phil,
So.
Archer and Tana have mixed it up before, and Archer's always had very great things to say about most of the talent in that company. I think they're going to have a really, really good match here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. Would be surprised if Tana beats him, and we get Tana versus Mox at some point in AEW. Would not be shocked.
Ooh. Yeah, because Mox said what he said last night. He said, "You know what, Tanahashi, screw you," and we were like, "Oh!" Like it was awesome. Like that was so cool. In case you kids can't tell, yes, I was at Dynamite last night, live in the crowd, Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, it was a live crowd, and no piped in noises at our show. I'm just saying, no piped in noises, baby. I'm not insinuating anything. Nobody told us what to chant. We just chanted stuff, okay? And guess what? They did the United Center announcement, I'm recording and I went, "Oh my God, see it!" Like I just started chanting Punk's name because I'm a drone apparently. And you sit back and watch on TV, like, here they go with the Punk chants again. It's infectious. Like you just, yeah, everybody around us is like, "What are we doing? Oh my God!" Like everyone kind of figured out what's going on. So yeah, you get into that herd mentality, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, we had a blast. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. I love Archer to death. I love how he's come full circle. He just best shape of his life, all this experience under his belt. He's in a great spot with a really good company right now. Tanahashi, what more can you say about the ace? Troy, let me ask you this. Does Tana take the belt back to Japan with him?
Ooh.
I mean, it's a United States title. It would make sense to keep floating in the States and keep their footprint here, but does he take it back?
But equally, how long did Mox have it and how long was it not in Japan for?
Very true.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm torn. I don't know. I want Tanahashi to win it. I think it makes sense to keep it in the States, but I also think it hasn't been in Japan for a long time. So, I don't know.
Phil, do you think at some point that New Japan comes along and says, "You know what, we're just going to let this belt be defended in the States from now on. It's a United States title." Do you think that would make the most sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would have seen it get defended more in the States if it wasn't for COVID. I think it would have been more of a fixture on New Japan Strong. But yeah, COVID just screwed up everything.
Yeah, it continues to.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you guys think about the Tanahashi Archer stuff? By the way, Tina is with us today, kids, from Peaches and Power Bombs Pro Wrestling Podcast. Please go subscribe and check them out. Tina, thanks for watching. We had a blast last night. Thank you very much. That's right. Shane's birthday was this week as well. Happy belated birthday to you as well, Shane.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday to you.
That's great because we during commercial breaks last night, Justin Roberts was working the crowd and we were singing to people who had birthdays in the crowd. So Dennis said, "Love to see that. Bucks brag about beating all the teams and there is nothing left. Out comes Punk and Daniel." Oh,
that would be great, but there's so many great tag teams in that company. You don't need to put those guys in a tag team just to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, watching that match last night and remembering, like, hey, Uno and Stu are fantastic.
Oh, they're so good live.
Like, they're so good. And I mean, even the tag match we got later in the night, I was like, there's so much good tag team wrestling in this company.
Yeah.
Dude, we I went with my kid and Gary Benfield, HVW owner and promoter. Gary's been in the business for a long time and seen a lot, trained a lot of guys, had a hand in training JD Drake, Cash Wheeler from FTR, a plethora of stars who have went above and beyond today. He was their first stop when they broke into the business. And so he's watching Dark Order. And when they started doing, because they did a lot of double team tag team work, and he looked at me and goes, "Man, these guys are good." I was like, right? I mean, just when you're so good, you don't need to talk to each other. Like Ricky and Robert said for years, we don't even need to talk to each other anymore. We know when I tag you here, that means do this. When we run this spot, that means you be here. Just fluid, Troy. I mean, such a good match, that opening. We got to talk about that in the match. We'll get to it in a bit, but the Dark Order.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute because I was crazy for that. that whole thing, everything from them coming out, the match itself, and just watching good tag team wrestling. As you say, there were a couple of really good tag matches on there, and it's nice to see tag team wrestling done properly and treated properly, given the time and the spotlight and the recognition that it absolutely deserves.
Yeah, because we've had I've at least I know I've had my earful for years about, well, pal, the old man doesn't care about tag team wrestling. I've heard it so much, it's almost like, yeah, the sky's blue. What else you got? Like, okay, fine. But it's almost like, well, guess what? He doesn't, but they do. Like, I love that they do. I love that it's important to them. It shows. I mean, you can crap on these guys for the first year and say, well, the women's division was the tag team was It takes time. Who comes out the gate, unless you're Iron Mike Tyson, who comes out winning right out the bat? I mean, right out the gate. It's hard to do that, Phil. I mean, you got it. It takes time to build these things up, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy. Let's get into some fight for the fallen results, because I know you guys want to talk about it. I was going to put the results on the screen, but guess what? Troy's gone if I do that. Troy's like this, right? Can't see me.
I mean, I can move up and around it if you need.
Go to the side and wave so we know you're still here.
There, is that okay for you?
Hey, there you go. Let's lead it off. The Elite, with the basketball starting five, defeated. We'll get to the defeated part in a second, but the Elite are the second team out. And do you know how much hate they got online, Phil, for the whole basketball thing? I'm like, you are supposed to hate this. Dude, my head hurts to the point of me wanting to vomit blood. You're supposed to hate this. Why are people going, this is ridiculous? Phil, help me understand why people hated this so much.
Because they just hate the Elite in general, and they don't understand that they're being worked. You don't understand. Like, I see so many people that are like, this is cornball. Their whole shtick is that they're dorks. That's
Exactly.
That's the whole point of their entire gimmick, is that they are dorks. They've been doing this since New Japan. This isn't new.
They've just ramped it up a bit more.
Yeah. This is them busters at Corrigan Hall. This is them coming out dressed as Kenny dressed as Princess Jasmine, and the others dressed up as Aladdin characters. This is the same thing. They've always done kooky gimmicks like this.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why you don't do this stuff as baby faces, because you may not get what you want, or you may just be pleasing the niche crowd when you want everybody to like you. So this is what you do when you're heel, because you don't care, because you want people to hate you.
Exactly.
I mean,
the funniest thing I saw last night was somebody going, I bet you they've never dribbled basketballs before. And I was like, hey, by the way, Kenny Omega played basketball and coached basketball. So yeah, shut up.
and if the answer is he had never touched a ball in his life, who cares?
They dribbled like that purposely. It is to make them look like dorks. That's the whole point.
I can't believe it's a conversation that like we have to have, like the fact that we almost have to justify it. No, you're meant to dislike it. Like, it's wrestling 101.
Yeah,
to Tina's point.
Troy, you get all the points for that one. You know, I can't believe the fact that we had to sit here and go, you know, you're supposed to hate the bad guys, right? Like, I can't believe.
This must be some people's first time watching wrestling, surely.
Thank you.
If that's what they're coming up with.
And on the flip side of this, I mean, if you're going to get, and I kind of wish they'd come out first a little bit, but if you're going to kick off the show with the powerful babyface faction, Dark Order and Hangman Page came out looking like Young Guns, looking like Wyatt Earp and Tombstone Crew. Dude, they lined up across. And see, we're watching the videos. I'm like, this is awesome. And didn't even see them come out on stage because it was pitch black.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then when they started lighting up, I'm like, dude, they're here. Like, I totally not seen them come out.
Did you guys notice, speaking of Brody earlier, there was a spot all the way at the end that the spotlight was empty for?
Oh, really?
I did not catch that.
Yeah, there was a spot all the way at the end that there was nobody there, and there was an open spotlight on it.
Well done.
Beautiful.
Well
beautiful.
done.
You could say that was either for Anna or it's for Brody. Either way, that was cool.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
so good. They looked, And I'm telling, aesthetics mean a lot here, kids. They looked great.
So good.
We don't have enough babyface factions in wrestling, and I get why we don't, because it's not a hard sell. But to keep that many guys face at one time is not easy. You need some darn good heels to play off of. So babyface factions don't work all the time. But man, like New Day, please never split Dark Order up. You're making a massive mistake. I mean, Troy, I love the way these guys look. Jeez, they were awesome.
I was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Just that video package was really, really cool. That bit they played at the start, so good, with the whole silhouette of like the cowboy with the hat on, and then whoever else is in frame without it, and it's like cowboy doesn't need to wear a hat, and just going through everything. That whole thing was awesome. Then the presentation on stage with the spotlights on each person, the color coordination, like Hangman's jacket, the purple bandana, the way they lined up there, then the way they lined up on the aprons, everything about it was absolutely superb. So good.
Sugar Shane says, as a traditionalist, I didn't like it. I want the wrestlers to come out and be all business, not a fan of the comedy aspect of wrestling.
I wouldn't say that was a comedy.
Go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say, but that was the whole point. The Dark Order came out and they stood up out there and then they went to the top. They took it very seriously. I thought that was the juxtaposition between both teams, that the Elite were the champions and they didn't take it seriously. Mm-hmm. And the Dark Order did. I thought that was the whole purpose.
Yeah. And, Shane, you're old school like I am. When J.J. Dillon was fumbling around and being made to look like a buffoon when in his suit, that was kind of comedy. Right? Well, it was a touch of it, but we love that. Like when Cornette was in his prime and being an idiot on TV and he got his mouth busted for it, we love that. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, comedy's always been in wrestling. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I'm okay with it. I embrace it. I don't embrace all of it all the time, but like the guy said,
like where the line is almost like and know how to tread that line, because you can go too far with it and then it becomes like Saturday morning kids TV comic book kind of like comedy nonsense, or you don't do it at all and it becomes a bit mundane.
Yeah,
I think they've found a balance there with this, but that is always going to be, you can't please people all the time. You can't please all of the people all of the time, but I think this is good.
Yeah, I mean, Triple Entendre is there. I mean, when you look at the fact that they came out dressed as the Elite Squad, and it was clearly product placement for Space Jam, but then at the same time, before Dynamite, Kenny tweeted, "What time is it?" And I was the only person I saw that retweeted and said, "Game time, woo!" Like Michael Jordan. Yeah. What number did Kenny have on? He had on 23, which again, they're doing United Center.
Oh, that's some chemistry right there. That's things harmonizing, kids. We like when things harmonize. And I had to make this comment during the show. I said, "Oh well, if anyone's going to wear 69, it's Doc Gallows. I mean, if anyone's going to wear that number."
Oh my God. Anderson wearing 2012 was the funniest thing to me, because he's referencing, of course, his run in the G1 in 2012.
Nice. That's great.
Which didn't they mention the other week as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here's the twist on this story, kids. Toby hit us with it. Them losing was genius. Great storytelling. Now, before anybody hits me and says, "Tom, what's happened to you?" This felt like a WWE move to me. To bear with me. You took Page, who was way down here, self-confident shot. He didn't get the first opportunity. He's been boozing it up for a year and a half, whatever it's been. These guys made him believe in himself again. He didn't want this. He didn't want to do it. They put the confidence back in him. They worked together. They saved him so many times from beatdowns. They're all buddies. They're bros, drinking buddies, whatever they are, right? He starts believing himself again. He gets back up, all the way up, and guess what? Now he doesn't even get the shot. I'm like, okay, and when it happened, let me tell you guys, when it happened, I don't know if it came over on TV, and the building, people were like, oh, you could hear an audible gasp of people going, what? Dude, there was guys in front of us turning around going like this at me, and I said, I don't know. And I made the comment out loud. I said, where do you go from here? And 3 people turned around and said, yeah, right. Like, we couldn't figure out where you go from here. Phil, help me make this make sense. How do you lift him all the way up? And then what do you do now to get him, or do you? What happens now?
I thought it was extremely smart because we see this all the time where they set up the challenger on WWE and they have a whole month to build the match. And then you don't have anything to do to build the match for a month. Now you have him in a month where he could possibly get back to the match before All Out, or you can for Full Gear. Maybe you don't want to take the title off of Kenny yet. You can wait till Full Gear. I personally think they're still doing the match at All Out. This is just a way of adding suspense. And you got to love them giving a call back to Revolution. And that's the way that he cost the Bucks the title. It's the same way of him grabbing Nick's leg while he was on the apron.
Nice.
So
there was a lot of storytelling that I was like, this is brilliant.
Welcome to Phil Lindsey's main event, kids. Phil, you're crushing today, my friend. You're crushing. Good God. Troy, if he's right and you get back to this, could you possibly say, hey, look, yeah, I got pinned and everything, but we all know that the ref's back was turned. You had to do this. You had to do that. Meanwhile, we didn't do any of those things. We played it above board. We all know how you guys operate. So can you kind of use that as a way to get back to it, or what do you think?
Of course. And I think everyone knows it's only a matter of time before he beats Kenny for that. He's the most over guy there. It's going to happen. But to keep building suspense, to keep having him almost sort of fall at the very last hurdle and to find any way he can get back in and keep bringing it. It's the ultimate kind of redemption story, like overcoming every obstacle. And as you say, they can very much use that. Well, with the refs back was saying, oh, this happened, that happened. And like, I don't know if like everything with Punk potentially coming back plays into this, and he comes out and kind of cuts and says, you know, this happened, that happened. I don't know. Like there's so much they can still do with this. And as you say, it's very smart. It's very clever. And it just builds a hell of a lot more intrigue as to how he's eventually going to get his opportunity, which we all know is coming. It's going to happen, but it's just another wrinkle in that story.
I wouldn't be surprised if they gave us the visual of Kenny beating him with the one-winged angel so he can eventually kick out of it.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if Hangman is the first man to kick out of the one-winged angel.
I thought
we were going to get it last night.
They're not going to waste that on a TV match.
That's true.
Okada's never kicked out. No one's ever kicked out of it?
Okada's never kicked out of it. If I remember, I think Ibushi kicked out of it for like DDT or something, but it's still like the most protected finisher in wrestling.
Next to what was I thinking when it happened last night? I thought, well, that's it. That's the Judas effect. When's the last time has anyone ever kicked out of that?
Super protected. Or like, Corbin's finisher is super protected as well.
End of days.
Yeah. I'm all for that. I'm all for protecting the finishes. If you look at an AEW has been compared or has compared themselves to like the good old fashioned territory wrestling. If you imagine Omega as a traveling champion, which he's not defending AEW title in other places, kids, but if he's a traveling champion, which he kind of is, then is Hangman Page our Dusty Rhodes? Omega's our Ric Flair, but when Omega goes to another territory, Impact Wrestling, they've got their Harley Race or whoever, their Billy Jack Haynes, the Pacific Northwest, who's there. That's their guy. He puts butts in the seats, but he's always this close to beating the champ, but he can't quite get there. If you look at it through those lenses, Troy, maybe a lot of this makes more sense.
Yeah, I guess so. They've got them both in a really, really good position here where like Page can do kind of no wrong and he's going to get there eventually. Omega can continue being that traveling champion, if you like, going those various promotions sort of thing. And yeah, it's again, I said it last week, it's a really good time to be a fan of wrestling and to watch it because some of this feels like a bit of a throwback to, as you said, that kind of territory thing and, having these people come in here and there. And yeah.
That's good stuff, man. I was thrown for a loop. But as I've said more than one time here on the show, kids, this company, compared to all the rest, has let me down the least number of times. It's the truth. It's how I feel.
Mhm.
So until they start letting me down personally as a fan, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And, people say, well, Tom, you should give WWE. I have a lot. Just like I gave WCW a lot. And then when they started, tanking, now you let me down. Do you let me down? No, I didn't want you to do that. But that's me talking. Maybe Troy or Phil would have a different take. Maybe you guys watching have a different take. It's all subjective. By the way, certain people write certain stuff about how they hate certain companies. Take a breath, kids. Relax. It's all just pro wrestling. I mean, we'll all be here tomorrow. The sun will come up tomorrow, and if it doesn't, none of us will be left here to even know the difference anyway. So relax. Try to enjoy it. Try to have fun. It's supposed to be fun. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hangman looked fantastic last night, too.
Yes,
I think
he did.
The comeback he had towards the end when he had to go against the last three Elite, and of course it was Omega and the Bucks, and he's just hanging with all three of them, fighting them off by himself, and the double buckshot lariat he pulled off was just awesome. I really thought he was going to win after that. Like, that moonsault he pulled off on the side off of the turnbuckle. Yeah, he's going to be champion eventually, guys. It's coming.
God, he looks.
You're
right.
Very Dolph Ziggler Survivor Series, like Soul Survivor. It was him and the Authority, and he was the last guy for his team. That's sort of why I thought he's going to win it here. He's going to take all three of them, and it's going to take every little bit to kind of crawl over the line to finish it. They gave me those sort of vibes. Obviously, this was 100 times better, but it was still that similar situation. He's the last man for his team, and really cool, really good.
Yeah, you're supposed to be mad that the Elite won. And then on top of that, the Elite have 5 champions on their team. They're not supposed to lose.
Good point.
Exactly. They've also got Don Callis in a pair of shorts that I never, ever need to see him wear again.
Don Callis is amazing. I love Don Callis.
No, he is. He is hilarious. But wow, he put those on last night for one reason and one reason only, so that we could sit here and talk about how I never want to see them again.
Yeah, his commentary during the match, the shorts, he's just great.
He's so good, so good.
There's a lot of comments on that too.
Passing comments are like Shivani. I can't remember what you said. He was like, "Oh, you've not seen a pair of legs this good since the '80s" or something.
That's good stuff. People are mentioning Miro, and you mentioned legs. I had to make the comment about what Miro said last night when he cut that promo.
Oh, it was so good.
He said he's have 2 things working in my favor: a vengeful God and a double-jointed wife. I said, "Oh my God!"
Yes.
We popped like crazy for that.
Oh man, outstanding.
I don't know how much, and people are mentioning Britt Baker. I see you guys talking. He's not Britt Baker territory in terms of turn him face now. But man, if he keeps talking like this, it's going to be the old-fashioned Rusev day where it's like, I love him, can't get enough of him. I want to see him go good. I mean, Phil, he was over with our crowd last night, dude. He was. The minute he came out, people were like, yeah. I mean, they popped for him, man. Like, that's good stuff. What do you think about Miro hitting his stride now, by the way, just as an off comment here? What do you think?
I mean, it was only a matter of time. I mean, he's got the charisma. He's a great wrestler. We all knew it was coming. And I think this run he's gone is great. That belt looks amazing. And looking forward to his match with Big Shotty next week. I think Big Shotty's extremely underrated.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be a good match. Let's talk more about what happened last night, kids. FTR defeated Santana and Ortiz. I'm not going to roll it because I can't. But I was pumped up for this. I enjoyed this so much. Santana Ortiz, we were so over for them. And FTR are local boys, so that was freaking great. I don't have an update on Cash Wheeler. I don't know if you guys do. But when he got thrown over the top or in the corner, he was on the far side of the ring from us. The second he went over, he's grabbing his arm, and we said, "Oh God, he's hurt, dude." They were running from ringside with towels to cover him up. I mean, I haven't watched the playback. I
Yeah, it
was
looks
told it was
nasty.
pretty gross.
He had like I didn't see exactly how, there was clearly like a fairly substantial cut on his arm. It was like his forearm, I think.
He was
Yeah.
gashed, right?
Yeah, not I didn't quite get how it happened. I kept sort of watching it back, and I saw him sort of go over the top. But I was like, well, I didn't see what he hit, where it but it didn't look good.
Well,
I feel like that played into the finish too, because it almost like it sort of came out of nowhere.
oh my God. So we didn't talk about this with the opening match, but Stu taking that hit to the ground and nobody caught him. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man,
it looked horrible.
it did.
Yeah, but yeah. Whew. Yeah, and that cut looked grisly. I was sitting looking like, yeah, well, think he's done for the night. But no, this was a fun match. I've been saying for a while that Proud and Powerful just makes more sense as a babyface team.
Yeah.
And they just looked great last night. They got the big pop, and you could just tell when they're ready to push them, they're going to be a great face tag team champions.
Yeah. And FTR has got to be in seventh heaven, not just because they get to do fun stuff, but one day when they hang this up, they'll be able to say they faced some of the best teams in two different companies. And who knows where the road takes them. If they end up in Japan one day, maybe three different companies, the best teams ever. I mean, that's Troy, we don't get enough guys sticking together and traveling tag teams like we did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, we could be watching real history being made with FTR every time they have a match like this.
Absolutely. Like, I was a huge fan of them in their run in NXT as a revival. Obviously, things went south as soon as they went to Raw or SmackDown or both. I don't remember which one, but yeah, it was disappointing. But huge fan of them. It's probably been said a million times before. They feel like a real throwback team as well. Their chemistry in the ring, and you were saying earlier on about like tag teams and kind of knowing where each other are at certain points of the match. You do this, and I need to be there, and this, that, and the other. They're so good to watch. And as you say, like, when they hang out those boots, to be able to say, wrestled across two of the biggest companies, the amount of the lineage of teams that they've kind of faced and the matches they had, like all of their stuff with DIY in NXT, superb. All of the stuff with Proud and Powerful, superb. And
American Alpha.
Exactly, American Alpha. I still don't think they're still kind of just scratching at the surface of what they can do in AEW. Like, let's not forget, they've not been there all that long, and there's still so much they can do there. And already this whole thing with Proud and Powerful is superb to watch. Everything from the promos and the video packages you get to everything they do in the ring. They're so good. So good.
It's funny, and I don't want to start bagging on the other guys, but like, we often have so many conversations about the other big company about how they don't seem to give you options, and the options they do have, they crap on them. This company feels like, hey, look, if anything goes wrong with the Bucks, Santana Ortiz, if anything goes wrong with them, FTR, there's options there, and there's levels of talent where it's like, hey, if this guy goes down, bam, throw it to them. Or, all right, just, and you can move things around, position people, and good, talented people. And it doesn't feel like they're handcuffed. No disrespect to John Cena. It doesn't feel like they're just handcuffed to John Cena going, what do we do now that he's hurt? Like, they don't really have to worry about that in this company.
No, I mean, dude, you've got private party hanging around. You've got Uno and Stu there. You've got the Acclaim. You've got, man, you could easily make Reynolds and Silver champions. They are over. I mean, super over. You've got tag teams. You got Bear Country. You've got a ton of tag teams in this company.
Death Triangle.
I forgot.
Lucha Brothers.
Brothers. I mean, come on. Come on. You've got a wealth of tag teams.
Darby and Sting. I'm just saying. I mean, just imagine Sting holding gold in another company. If only for a month or two, that'd be kind of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Scorpio and Paige.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It's really good.
This is we try to remember all the tag teams in AEW bit of the show. It's go on for days.
But that's the thing. It speaks volumes for how well they treat tag team wrestling there. Because we're sat here being like, there are a lot more, and I can't remember. Like, there's so many, and like you just said, there's so many of them. They could go, okay, well, we could position you next, you're next, you're next, you're next. Like, there's 4 or 5 tag teams there that if they turn around next week and put the belts on them, I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of great comments here about the tag team division. FTR, the North Carolina Wrecking Crew. There was a tag team here in the Carolinas called the Carolina Wrecking Crew, and I cannot remember who it was now. But no, I agree with you. Jamel says they will go down as one of the best teams of all time. They remind me of Arn and Tully so much, which is the point, which I'm sure they appreciate.
Yep.
I'm sure they appreciate it. Toby says, in other words, AW actually has a plan. Couldn't agree more. Jamel says, Team Taz. We forgot about Team Taz.
Wow, of course.
Man. Dennis asked if the 6-man tag belts are still being talked about. I still submit they should do TNT Tag Team Championships, in my opinion. I think that would be fun to see. But yeah, I'm all for a 6-man tag. Molly gonna bring some heat. No trombones blowing. Molly, where'd that come from? We're not even talking about New Day right now. What? And I disagree.
You hush your mouth with that Xavier Woods slander. you hush your mouth.
Francesca number 1 didn't die for this.
You hush your mouth. It
Don't make her death have been in vain.
It sounds like the trios belts are still happening. They keep teasing them, so I think they're happening.
Maybe we get them debut like New York or something like that, the big New York show. Yeah. We get a debut of someone, we get a debut of a belt. Like, I think it's imminent, isn't it? Like, there's been talk for ages, like, and they're constantly having these trios matches. They have it as part of their ranking system, like their win-loss record, their trios win-loss record. Like, we're gonna get it. It makes sense. And trios is really fun to watch, that dynamic of a big multi-man match.
If we somehow lead to like Andrade with the Lucha Brothers as a stable and their trios champions.
Oh boy.
That's some good stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff. With Andrade being there, and you could see him doing
tranquilo.
And I know it, dude, if I'm New Japan, I hang on to my copyrights. And I'll play ball where I can play ball, and I'll be polite where I can be polite. But in all due fairness, I would hang on to my copyrights. However, if LIJ is indeed copyrighted by New Japan, I assume it is. I don't know. But, you've got Roosh in ROH who's doing this, and you've got it sort of like Bullet Club is kind of everywhere now. I mean, we always talk about Bullet Club, and I think we should. It's fun. But, like, what about Phil LIJ coming to life in AEW in some form? What do you think?
Well, isn't LIJ an offshoot of Los Ingobernables? And that was La Sombra's original stable. Mm-hmm. So he could easily just restart the stable with AEW and just call it either that or change the name of it.
And there's one in Ring of Honor that's called, what are they called? It's an offshoot in Ring of Honor as well right now. It's Roosh. And it's,
I don't know what they're called.
I can't remember what they're called. La Facción El Gobernable, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see him, redoing it here. And I mean, it's his creation. So I don't think that they technically have any copyrights to it. Ooh. They probably have copyrights to LIJ, but they don't have copyrights to Los Ingobernables.
Yeah. I forgot about the original. That's crazy. I love the idea of this stuff branching out. That's where my head's at. I mean, and they've helped my head get here too, because with, again, the Forbidden Door, copyright that. That's good stuff. We talked about Bullet Club. Archer tying it up with a member of the Bullet Club last night. We got to see the return of King Haku. Yes, we popped like mad for King Haku. Hikuleo's a big boy, and I knew he was, but to see him live, wow. And man, he's got so much better, Troy, since the last time I personally saw him. Like, he's coming to his own now, I think.
I'll be honest, I hadn't seen him before this. Like, I knew of him. I'd heard his name mentioned, obviously, with Haku and Gorillas of Destiny and this, that, and the other. But he looked impressive. And as you say, he's a big guy. And Lance Archer isn't short, basically. I think Lance Archer's 6'8", and did they say Hikuleo's 6'10"? Like 6'11", like close to 7 foot, but he's massive and he moves well. Like, he's really, really good, really impressive. And also just amazing to see King Haku.
Yeah, man, he did the Tongan thing, and oh my god, that was pretty cool.
I love that commentary were putting and rightly so, but still putting him over as legitimately the hardest man on the planet. Just be like, I think JR said something like, he's not the sort of guy you want to buy a drink for in the bar. He's the sort of guy you want to be attached to the hip at when you walk into the bar.
That way he's got your back, right?
Yeah.
Phil, we often hear about AEW doing right by the veterans and stuff, and which I think they absolutely do. What do you think about? And I don't know if Haku's even interested in this, but if it were to come to pass that hey, he's offered a coach position, I don't even know if he's in a position to accept something like that. What do you think about him possibly coming in some kind of role, either on the air or behind the scenes? What's your feelings on that?
I don't know. I don't know what his current situation is. If it's just him making more appearances, I take it. Yeah, I don't know. If you can get him in any capacity, you have to at least try. But then again, like I said, I don't know what his status is with New Japan or wherever he's working.
Yeah, good point. And also, in my opinion, this just means God maybe is on the way. And I really Phil, rep that shirt for me, my friend, because that's what we're talking about right there, right?
Yeah. Loved hearing the OG Gorillas of Destiny theme song last night. I'm a big fan of their current theme, but that first theme was hard. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of partial to the newer one, I have to say. I kind of love, just like I love the Briscoes babyface music that kicks off with "Reach for the Sky, Boy." I love that so much. Like their heel music is really low and it's like weird swamp music, and I get it, but like
Swamp music.
well, it's like a dark banjo or something, and I'm like, your heels, it's fine. But their babyface music is, oh my god, this is awesome. So yeah, I mean, I get that. That's the desired effect. It's supposed to make me go, yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm partial to the new God thing. Also last night, kids, we got Christian Cage and Jurassic Express defeating Angelico and Private Party. Christian was so over with us last night. Everybody in the match was really. It just really feels like we're paving the road for Christian versus Jungle Boy, because Christian's been known to turn on everybody. He's kind of becoming Kevin Owens, or Kevin Owens became Christian at one point, right? How soon, Troy, do you think we see Christian turn on Jurassic Express?
Ooh. I still think we're a little while off it, to be honest. Christian hasn't been there all that long. And like, I'm happy seeing him as a face. I'm happy with this whole thing with Jungle Boy and everything like that. But yeah, I think if they're smart, they hold this off for a little bit. In my opinion, I would like to see them hold off for a bit. And we know that at least with AEW, like with stuff like this, although you can go over see kind of the writing on the wall and know, yeah, he's probably going to turn up at some point. Unlike other companies where they just kind of give you like that, we slow burn this. There's so much you can do on that path, that journey to it eventually happening. So much kind of teasing and this, that, and the other. So I hope they long this out for a bit.
Phil, it seems like the whole concept, and I think Troy just alluded to it, it seems like the whole concept of us looking down the road to see what comes next. Maybe we're, again, so jaded by WWE's way of doing things that we can't help but ask what comes next. I mean, maybe we should just sit back and, by we, I mean me, just sit back and enjoy this, because Christian looks great, number one. Christian can still go. When Christian pops you in the head, brother, he's not pulling his punch. I mean, when he hits. I mean, just sit back and enjoy it. However, I do think at some point we're looking at Christian the turncoat. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, Christian is at his best as a heel. He just is. Like, so the turn's coming eventually. And I mean, by the way, left out Jurassic Park earlier. Could have easily thrown on that list of tag teams, and they would make fantastic trios champions.
Forgot about them.
If you want a way to make Marco Stunt a champion, trios champions is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wow. Well, that'd make all kinds of people upset right there. Put a belt on Marco Stunt before you put it on.
That's why I want it. Get that belt around Marco Stunt's belt. Wait, so Cornette and all these idiots can cry about it.
Oh my God. Tina says my dad popped for King Haku. It's very cool to see him for sure.
Ooh, Yeah, me and you both.
Ray says Andrade playing the rich leader is going to be great when he takes the Death Triangle over, like he bankrolls the faction. That's kind of cool. I like that idea all day.
Yeah, Black Mask Andrade is awesome so far.
Oh yeah, I agree. Let's see. Ray says Jungle Boy could turn on Christian. Ray, I love you, brother. I don't see that.
Nah,
Jungle Boy,
he's face. Oof, white meat baby face.
He and Ricky Steamboat. I'm telling you, I don't know how like they turned Sting heel and WCW. Horrible. It just didn't work, and they never should have turned him. I don't think you turn Jungle Boy. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I just don't know how you do it. Let's see. William says our Dynamite needs to be extended for an hour, 8 to 11. Too much talent on that roster. William, I'll hit you with this. Doors open at 6. Bell time was at 7. From 7 to 8, we got Elevation. From 8 to 10, we got Dynamite. After 10 till about midnight, we got Dark. They've got a lot of ways to get talent on their social media and on TV. So if they didn't have the other two programs happening, I'd agree with you. I don't think they need to go 3 hours.
I was going to say, you got Rampage coming. That's to say, that's even before Rampage has started. You've got Dynamite, Dark Elevation, and Dark. Like, no need. You don't need to bloat it. Like it's a perfect amount of time.
Tina says, I get tired of fast food wrestling. Give me that fresh to order and let me wait for the good stuff. That's great.
Love that.
Man.
Love that.
I mean, let's just all think about who got Tina started in her pro wrestling writing career. I'm not going to take credit for stuff. I wouldn't do that. We're going to review Fade to Black, so I'll just do that. I'm just teasing. Tina, great point, Tina. Great point. Let's see. Toby says, how about Christian giving Lucha the thumbs down and he drops JB like Triple H did Randy? Giving Lucha the thumbs down. And
he's talked about if
Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus drops. Yeah.
Again, Luchasaurus is over as a face.
I don't see them turning Jurassic Express here.
Well, if you could turn one of them, it's Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
Because you have him just do this and get those eyes and that, oh my God, that would be slow him down. He stops doing the big time lucha moves over top rope. Dude, he could be a sinister big man, I think.
Yes, boy. Oh, yeah.
Let's see what else happened last night. Let's also talk about Thunder Rosa defeats Julia Hart. Julia basically got a whole bunch of nothing, but it's okay. So Thunder Rosa, again, we popped for her huge last night. Phil loves seeing her in AEW now full time. If you're gonna not put her for the belt at like right now, you keep feeding her opponents like this to maybe remind fans of how good she is. But I do think we're getting her versus Baker. Have they officially announced anything moving forward? Or just rumors, right?
No, just rumors so far. Yeah, this was the only thing that I did like about Dynamite last night. Not because it was a bad match. This was a solid match for what it was, but it was way too short. And for the only women's match on the card, I felt like it should have gotten more time. And I feel like that's becoming an issue that there is only one women's match every week. And then when we do get one, if it's not treated like a big deal like the championship match last week, then it's kind of like, yeah, here's this tacked on match right before the main event. And I feel like they've got to be more consistent. Like the match last week was great. I really enjoyed Nyla versus Rick, but I just want them to be more consistent.
Do you think they're holding out until Rampage and then they dedicate a decent amount of time? They've got a second show where they can start showcasing it more.
Maybe, but I mean, as much as Jade Cargill was on Dynamite when she first debuted, you don't even see her anymore. Like that's crazy.
Like little backstage promos every other week.
Yeah, you don't even see her. She doesn't even do promos and nothing. You don't see her. Where is Sheeta? We haven't seen Sheeta since she lost the championship. Where's Riho? Where's Serena Deeb? Like, I just feel like they've got to do a better job of getting more women on the show.
You know why it didn't translate? Anything you just said, nothing translated to me in the crowd last night because Elevation kicked off with Red Velvet, and Elevation had 2 or 3 women's matches. we got Thunder Rosa on Dynamite, and then Dark had 2 or 3 women's matches. So live watching all that content, it didn't really hit me that, wait a minute, there was just one women's match on Dynamite. It didn't even occur to me till you just said it. So
yeah. And Elevation is great. I enjoy Elevation, and they do have some great women's matches on Elevation. I just wish more of them were on network television.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Timothy makes a good point about Tay Conte as well. So you've
Yeah.
got Tay Conte, another one in the women's division that's strength to strength.
Very true. And she was on. She did the Dark show immediately after Dynamite went off. She came out and she crushed somebody. I forget who it was.
Now, did I just see in the announcements afterwards they're doing like a tournament for the NWA?
Oh, are they?
Didn't I see it was like NWA Eliminator title tournament or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know obviously they've got, like NWA have got their Empower pay-per-view coming up.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't know if it's anything to do with that at all, or
it was Layla Hirsch versus somebody. I can't remember who was the opponent.
Oh, okay.
Which Layla Hirsch is fantastic, by the way. I think she should be on TV a lot more.
Agree.
Let's see here. Now that you got me questioning.
Talk amongst yourselves, kids.
This moment of silence brought to you by Tom Carter's Main Event.
I cannot remember the matchup for the life of me. I know it's Layla Hirsch versus somebody.
All right, NWA Eliminator Tournament. I'm not getting a hit on this at all. Maybe I'm not naming it correctly.
Yeah, maybe I said it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I got no. Oh, I put in Eliminator. It brings up the AEW tournament that they had. We'll get you details, kids. Never you fear. Let's see. Let's see what else happened last night. Not much, except a bloodbath in the main event. Let's just skip over it. Screw it. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. Chris Jericho defeated Nick Gage. I said before we went live here today that for a town in North Carolina, you kind of thought, and I said this last week, I knew Chris was going to get a massive pop, and he did. We all sang Judas, and it was crazy fun to do it. I thought, how many people's going to really know Nick Gage? A whole bunch of people, as the answer, knew Nick Gage, and holy wow, holy God, it was what a match. Don't think we had to worry about the light tubes. They were candy glass kids. We could kind of see that the minute he brought them out. It's not the real deal. It's perfectly fine. I wouldn't take a light tube to the head either. So, you know, the pizza cutter hopefully was not sharpened, but I don't know what the real story is on that. I would guess it was gimmicked, but that's just me throwing out there. The point is, everybody got color. Everybody freaking bled to death, it looked like. I mean, Phil, what's your take on a match of this type, and specifically Gage, main event, national television?
Man, say what you will about Nick. To see where he came from and all of his personal struggles in life, and to get him all the way to the point of main eventing Dynamite on network television, that's an amazing, poignant story for that guy. Just a guy that's trying to do his best to be on the right path and do good things. I think that's awesome for him. And this was a Nick Gage match. It was like, this was as close to a Nick Gage match on Dynamite as we were going to get. It was probably tame in comparison to his other matches, but it's about as close as we were going to get. And I got to give AEW a lot of credit for having the courage to do that kind of match on network television. And Jericho for being willing to do it. I'm not the biggest deathmatch guy. I'll throw that out there too. But this match was fun enough for what it was. I think most of my amusement was JR was clearly not enjoying himself on commentary. He made that very clear. And of course the pizza cutter, and then it cut to a commercial of Domino's Pizza, which was also hilarious.
We didn't know that. So that's awesome. Troy, Phil was more on board with this last week than you and I were. What's your take now after having seen it?
I'm still not going to be in any rush to go and watch any deathmatch wrestling. To Phil's point, I think having Nick Gage on like network television, headline an episode of Dynamite, and have him kind of show off his style of stuff and put him on the map a little bit more, I think is nice. And I'm not a fan of that sort of thing at all. But it was a spectacle. It was something different. It was something out of the ordinary. It certainly gets eyes on him. It gets eyes on GCW. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was never going to be kind of like deathmatch style Nick Gage up to full throttle, like, you know, turn up to 11. If you want that, then you watch his stuff in GCW. But I think it opened people's eyes to it. It was entertaining. That's what we're here for. It's entertainment, and it was entertaining. It ticked the boxes. JR's commentary cracked me up because it's exactly my take on that style of wrestling. And Aaron, who I do the podcast with, is a big fan of deathmatch wrestling. And listening to JR's comments throughout that whole match was essentially like listening to a conversation between me and Aaron, where I just go, oh yeah, oh wow, he's got a pizza cutter. Yeah, great. Oh, you're cheering the pizza cutter. And just that really sarcastic, oh, whoa, he's got this. Oh, brilliant. Like, I don't get it. Like, I say it in jest, but it's also kind of like a level underneath of, I mean, why is he doing that? But as I say, it's entertainment. It entertained me. I watched Dynamite this week, if I'm going to be honest, primarily to see what that was going to be like. So it built intrigue, and that's what it's there for. And you can't argue that, to Toby's point, AEW giving variety, trying something different, Jericho doing something different and out of his comfort zone, Gage being given the opportunity to come on network television, show what he is all about. So ticked all the boxes. It wouldn't have been everyone's cup of tea, but yeah.
And we had some great comments, guys. I really appreciate this, kid. You guys are awesome. A lot of great comments here. Toby says AEW gives you variety. Pro wrestling is supposed to be a variety show. I'm all for that. Timothy says this would not happen in WWE, which is kind of the point, Tim. If you think about it, I mean, is this something Colin wants to put on TV every week? No, I would guess not. I don't know. I'm not Tony, but I would guess the answer is no. Phil, is there a multiverse in which Gage is brought in full time? We didn't think Kingston would be, but that he's brought in full time, and now he's going to be that hitman type of character that Kingston was supposed to be before he went all crazy babyface and everybody loves him. I mean, do you think he's too niche? Could he scale it back to get a paycheck that would last him the rest of his life? Do you think he's even interested in that? What do you think?
I'm not sure if that's even what Nick wants to do. I feel like he's comfortable doing the GCW. I feel like that crowd loves him so much that, like, it would be a shame to take him away from GCW and put him as a mainstay on AEW. Like, I feel like that's a total WWE move of going, oh, this guy is the biggest star of that small promotion. Let's take him and bring him here. And not to say that it would not benefit AEW, but at the same time, it would just be such a shame for him to leave that corner of the wrestling world where he is so beloved.
100% agree. Absolutely. It would be doing, like, bringing him over, signing him in AEW full time would be, they'd have to dilute him.
Yeah.
They're not going to have him out every single week doing deathmatch stuff. And also, the novelty wears off. You're seeing that every single week. Maybe there's an agreement in some capacity where he appears a couple of times a year and we get 1-2 off special events like that. Maybe they decide to bring back the exploding barbed wire deathmatch thing next year, but Nick Gage is in it, and they bring him back for little things like that. So he carries on doing his GCW stuff, like he's, you know, that's his thing. That's fine. But then maybe we get 1 or 2 here. We get Nick Gage versus like Mox in an exploding death like next year, and just something like that. I think that would work. I don't see him coming over full time. I wouldn't want that to happen. As I say, I'm not a deathmatch fan. I don't know a lot of his previous stuff, but having known what he does, it would do him a disservice, a discredit to have him kind of come over and be full time there.
It would kind of devalue him to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, considering his rep. Ray says, Ray with a hot take. It was horse poop. Language, Ray. Death matches are just weapon fighting, takes no skill, makes me sick. If we're going to put up positive comments, we'll put up ones that are negative as long as they're not offensive. And Ray, I get where you're coming from. It's not for everybody. It's not for me. I'm not for deathmatch wrestling. If my kid were not 12 going on 13, I don't know if we'd have went last night. I would have told him to turn his head because I didn't want him saying it. Now it's different, you know, but I'm a different kind of parent too. In as much as when he was old enough to start going to wrestling shows, I let the cat out of the bag very early on because I didn't want my kid thinking it was okay to solve your problems by punching people in the face.
Yeah.
And maybe he would never have thought that, but I don't want to get a call from school saying, yeah, he's done it again. He powerbombed someone through a table. Come pick him up. My God. So
you need to clear that one straight off the bat just to ensure that, yeah.
And he still enjoys it. But letting the cat out of the bag didn't ruin it for him at all. He still gets into it. But like, yeah, but again, if he weren't still going on 13, I would have had a problem with that. And plus, the crowd's chanting cowboy crap and
cowboy shiz.
Yeah, Nick effing Gage. And I thought Justin Roberts gave him the best introduction that guy could have hoped for national TV.
I didn't think he was going to stop.
I know.
He's this. He's known as this. He's known as that. Like, okay.
If you're Gage, you're backstage thanking everybody and shaking everybody's hand before you left last night and telling Tony Khan, thank you so much for this. And I don't know how he is behind the scenes. Could be a D-bag. I don't know. But I would assume that he's humbled by this. Not that they're, the end all be all, but as we said, they kind of rolled out the red carpet for him when they didn't have to do any of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, two things. Did you guys in the crowd yell North Carolina with Roberts when he did it for Omega earlier? And then two, I'm going to push back and say that I don't agree it takes no skill because you might not like it. You might say that it's not all the moves and all of the technical stuff that you get with some wrestling, but it does take skill to do deathmatch wrestling because it's storytelling just like anything else.
It takes skill to hit someone but not kill them.
Exactly. I was going to say, take skill to hit someone with a weapon or a blunt instrument or whatever that is and know where and how much force without it actually maiming them, without it actually doing long-term damage. So whilst I kind of agree, like, I'm not going to say it doesn't take any skill. It takes a different degree of skill to do that.
And, William Regal described his style more than one time as I hit very hard in safe places, which is kind of says everything about him. Yeah. So someone just mentioned this in the chat. Sorry, guys. They just mentioned the Juventud thing, not to flip the script here, but I kind of forgot to mention we're getting the third labor of Jericho. Juventud Guerrero, who just turned 85, is taking on Chris Jericho. I'm just kidding.
60.
We were like, is he? No, it's not him. Like, Troy, what's your take on Hoovy coming back?
Wow. The thing is, okay, this Labors of Jericho thing is going to build and build and build. And I think I said it the other week. I was like, well, hang on, Nick Gage is the second labor. How can they keep ramping it up from here? Like, what the heck are they going to bring out next? Well, this surprised me just as much as them announcing Nick Gage. It's going to be fun. And I think I said the other week, it almost feels like a kind of semi-farewell tour for Jericho, almost ticking off this kind of bucket list of, okay, well, I'll do this type of match. I'll face this kind of guy. And I think we're going to see a slightly different version of Jericho next week. And I think the stipulation is he can only hit a finisher off the top rope or something like that. So it's going to be fun. Juventud Guerrero on TV on TNT for the first time in what did they say, like 15 years or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Phil, did we get Lionheart Chris Jericho next week?
That would be interesting. I do agree that this is kind of like I don't want to say farewell tour, but I wouldn't be surprised if after this Jericho's off TV for a while, because it just seems like they're doing all of like this like bucket list stuff, and they're also doing all this retrospect stuff. Like you can look at it like this match tonight is like maybe as close as you're going to get to a callback to his ECW stuff while doing the New Japan stuff at the same time. And then his first match was whatever Spears is supposed to be. I don't know. WWE chairs match. I don't know. And then you get to give a nod back to a WCW run with Juventud. So, like, man, that makes me wonder, okay, what is the fourth and the fifth? Are we going to get Lance Storm? Are we going to get, like,
Goldberg?
Oh my God! Dean Malenko's gonna come out, and
Dean Malenko's is his list.
I mean, I initially wrote this 5 labors of Jericho thing off as like whatever. I don't care about this, but they've made it into one of the most interesting things to watch every week. Surprisingly,
yeah,
it's
I agree.
Really cool. Really
it's good
cool.
TV. I think it's good TV. Hoovy is 46,
okay.
So not so old. Don't you dare shake your head, Phil. Some of us are a certain age, so I mean, can still go check that out.
We're getting masked Hoovy, so that's interesting because
I got a mask. I bought it in Mexico because if you're gonna buy a lucha mask, hold on, buy a crackle.
Mexico.
Hold on, yeah. If you're gonna buy. Hold on. If you're going to buy a lucha mask, by God, you buy it in freaking Mexico. And, of course, it's a Ray style mask.
Nice.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Nice.
Now, it didn't fit Fat Tom's head too much, but I'll bet Thin Tom it fits pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Like a glove.
One day I'll just come on the show. One day I'll come on the show with the mask and never mention a thing about it. And I'll just do the whole show.
Like Ariel Helwani when he was on the Le Batard show, and he's just like,
is that weird or what?
that was awesome. He's like doing this, like basically a pipe bomb on ESPN with this lucha mask on. It was great.
And you've inspired me because, brother, not to sit here and slander anybody, but if you had any doubts as to what kind of person Dana White is,
hot garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Helwani lit him up. I'm sorry, but he should have. Yeah. Kids, there's your fight for the fallen last night. I'm still tired. We had a blast. It was awesome. Before we take this thing home today, I wanted to hit on a few different headlines. We don't have to spend forever. We've gone way over as it is. It's almost Friday. So a couple things from TakeOver, or not TakeOver, but NXT. I wanted to throw it out there. Samoa Joe back on the active roster, going to take on Cross at TakeOver 36, and Dakota Kai turns on Raquel Gonzalez. Which one did we see coming first, Phil?
The Joe thing. I think we all knew he was wrestling after he got choked out. Like there's only so many places you can go with that. But I'm just gonna say it now. Listen, this was a nice experiment. Get that belt off Raquel and put it on Dakota as soon as possible. Let's make this happen. Dakota is long overdue. Make Dakota champion. Let's do it. Come on.
Troy, was Raquel as champ a hard sell? I got to be honest. And dude, I know this is going to sound like we start talking about WWE. Tom starts bagging on people. I don't mean it that way. I have never bought her as this unstoppable, she's tell me, listen, if you disagree, fine, but tell me what am I missing here that I'm not buying this?
I think I'm in agreement with you, to be honest. She was obviously there to fill the boots of Rhea Ripley when she left as the kind of the imposing female kind of figure there. For me, she doesn't tick that box.
Mercedes Martinez does better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say that she has improved massively over the last year. Partnering her with Dakota Kai has been really good. There's been some really good stuff to watch, everything with them as a tag team and their single stuff. But yeah, I am in agreement. I don't buy into her as everything that they're trying to make her out to be. And I would be much happier, and I'm sure it's going to happen, with Kai taking the belt off her.
Yeah, I'm with you guys, and honestly, Phil, I'm with you. I think Dakota Kai has more than earned this, if there is such a thing as earned in this business. We all use that word a lot, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I think it's time to do it. As far as the Joe and Cross thing, I mean, if the plan is take it off Cross so we can put him on the main roster,
Oh man, that's for me what is so annoying, disappointing about this is Joe back in active competition. Amazing. Joe versus Cross at Takeover 36. Amazing. We know he's going to main roster. Ergo, we know Joe's beating him. Unless they absolutely swerve us. But it's so frustrating that there's that massive disconnect because it takes away any illusion. We were saying earlier on, there's no surprises in wrestling anymore, really. To that point, like, Joe's winning it here, and that's great. And even if we hadn't seen Cross on Raw and he hadn't been at those main event tapings, I'd have still gone into this saying Joe's going to win it. But now it seems a foregone.
Yeah, it does. It does.
The only thing I kind of don't like about Joe being back, and don't get me wrong, I'm so glad, but I feel like it derails other guys that could have stepped up and won the championship that haven't been NXT champion already. I feel like you've got Pete Dunne wandering around on NXT doing nothing, and he should be champion. He should be at least in contention for championships.
Hometown boy.
And I don't know. I just feel like having him do this stuff with Thatcher and those guys, it's like, okay. We're talking about a year ago, the longest reigning NXT UK champion. And the guy that was putting on classic after classic match. And now it's just like, he just feels like another part of the cast. It's like, I just don't think he should be that.
Yeah.
And man, he's in phenomenal shape. Like,
yes.
I remember when he showed, like, he not re-debuted, but he put some pictures up on his Twitter, and then he came back out because he was, until he went back stateside, a producer for NXT UK. And he put a picture of him in his new shape, and everyone was like, "Are you okay? Like, are you ill or what?" And he was like, "No, I've just been working my butt off for the last year to get into even better shape," and he looks absolutely phenomenal. And to your point, like, there's many people there, and I'm a big fan of Joe, and I'm not against him having the belt, but there's many people there that should be in that contention, and Pete Dunne is absolutely one of them. After all of the work he did with the NXT UK Championship, longest reigning championship, like, champion in that belt's history up until, at that point. He deserves to be in there. Having said that, his whole thing with Oney Lorcan and obviously the returning Ridge Holland, there's some intrigue there for me. Ridge Holland, it should be noted, looks in phenomenal shape, like, looks awesome coming back.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that faction. We've got Danny Burch coming back as well from injury, hopefully at some point soon. I like that kind of, like, the three Brits and the American guy in that faction, that heel faction, all of them just like hard hitters. Like, if you're not going to do something with Pete Dunne individually in terms of the championship, do something with that fact, like, push them. You've broken up the Undisputed Era. Have those four guys keep building and building and building them if you're not going to do something with him individually.
Let's see. Brian, welcome to the show, my friend. Brian says Cross was built to be unstoppable, and Joe would be the only one to take the belt. Cross loses to Hardy and ruins the presentation. Yeah. He's got a point. Have we already sabotaged this match with Joe? I didn't even think about it in those terms, but why would you care now? And I love Jeff, but, like, in 2 minutes you beat him on national TV, Phil, does that ruin this match at all for you? What do you think?
It doesn't necessarily ruin the match, because I'm sure the match will still be good, but I just think it just kind of shows their hand of what they think about Cross. The rumor was he was supposed to lose again this week, but of course Jeff was not there because Jeff tested positive for COVID, and so he got the win over Keith Lee, but he was supposed to lose again, apparently.
I'm not even going to soapbox because I don't even know where to go from here.
Who knows? Who knows what it is? I am worried. I'm not the biggest Karrion Kross fan, but I am worried for what this means to take over.
Yeah. Let's talk about some ratings here, kids. This week, AEW. It's my best Toriano. Ready? Because I don't know. It's not out yet. Ratings, we're still waiting on the numbers here, kids. Last week, 1.15 million. NXT down just a scoosh to 520 from 709, but they were on Sci-Fi this week and next week too, I believe. Do we think that AEW tops last week? Troy, what do you think?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think the whole stuff with Nick Gage has built a huge amount of intrigue. I think there's an awful lot of eyes on that. Even like casual wrestling fans, like buzz goes around the internet community, like and the whole there's a deathmatch guy on AEW. I'm going to check it out. I don't watch AEW every week, but I'm intrigued. I think there's going to be another jump on last week.
Phil, over under last week?
I think it's going to be over. I think now that you've got the rumors of Punk and you've got all this other stuff going on, I think more and more people are going to want to watch.
We got a comment here earlier about Walter. That's how I'm saying it. Going to be on the takeover card. So apparently he's back, good to go, got the green light, looks like. So that'll be a great addition to that card as well.
It will be. Phil, sorry, you go ahead. I think you had something.
No, I was just sitting here thinking, do you guys think that this was a real hand injury? It almost feels like it was a worked injury just to get that match on the NXT card, the takeover.
Yeah, card. I agree.
Maybe.
I'm obviously biased for a number of reasons. One, being in the UK. Two, being a big fan of NXT UK. Three, having had tickets to Takeover Dublin, which was where we were meant to get the first of this match, Walter and Dragunov. To me, it feels like it does a little bit of a disservice to UK fans, where they've built this storyline for the past 10 months and we're not getting the blow off on a UK takeover. However, the amount of buzz that their first match generated, it got some more eyes on the product. To then put the second match on there on a takeover is massive. And I think hopefully this works in NXT UK's favor, because for me, it's kind of almost like the sleeper brand, like the sleeper kind of promotion, if you like, or sleeper branch of WWE. Like the week after week, 1 hour, just consistently very good. Walter Dragunov has been one of the best like building storylines over the last 10 months or so. That's not to mention everything else that goes on there. So I think it's going to do a huge service to them having it on a takeover and get eyes on it. But as a UK fan, as a resident here, like it does feel a little bit like, oh, we don't matter. We've had takeover postponed twice and then subsequently cancelled, and this was the match we were meant to get on that, and we don't get it. And yet stateside, you've got full attendance fans and you've got people in the CWC, but we've still got NXT UK in the BT Sports Centre with no one in attendance. We want to be there to watch this. Why aren't we getting it?
Yeah, I can see that.
Where do they tape at over there, by the way, Troy? Do we know where they tape?
It's called the BT Sports Centre. It's based in London.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. It's like a little kind of similar to CWC in that it's not what was the performance center, a bit like Full Sail University almost, but specifically for BT Sports. But really, really good facility.
Capital Wrestling Center, CWC, Capital Wrestling Center. Here at the Capital Wrestling Center tonight, the Capital. Did you hear that shot ring out in the Capital Wrestling Center? What's going to happen? Oh.
Do you know what? They're the same here in the UK. So when Mustache Mountain, for those who don't know, Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate.
Yes.
That log cabin at the top of Mustache Mountain in Wolverhampton. They made a big deal about the fact that Mustache Mountain were wrestling together for the first time as a tag team in the BT Sports studio. And they put that over for weeks and weeks. Even in Mustache Mountain's promos, we're teaming together for the first time in the BT Sports Centre studio. Like, just say it's just a match. It doesn't matter where it is. But it was that whole thing of, it's in the BT Sports Centre studio. That's my Birmingham impression, by the way.
I love Trent. Well, as far as we know, you nailed it, because I don't know.
My mum lives in Birmingham. I picked up a bit of the accent.
I love Seven. I love that guy so much. I kind of hope that he never breaks through to the main thing, because I don't want anybody to mess with him, because like when I look at him, there's very few guys I can look at. Like Moxley's one of them. I can look at and go, he gets it. He totally gets it. Like Seven to me looks like he almost looks like I'm so above all this. Like I see everything. You guys are playing catch up. And to me, that's what it feels like. He's so smart about this stuff.
He really is. If you've not watched it, I'm sure you guys have, but for anyone joining in the comments, if you haven't had a chance, watch Trent Seven versus A-Kid in the NXT UK Heritage Cup final. The match itself is incredible. The storytelling is incredible. The NXT UK Heritage Cup in itself, the way those match types works, like the old British style rules match, where it's a rounds-based match, is amazing. And it's so good. Like, it will make you appreciate A-Kid a lot more. It'll make you appreciate Trent a lot more. The stipulation, the way the match works. But that match, if you've never seen a Trent Seven match before, watch that.
Yeah, I've got that queued up. I'm going to go watch that because I don't recall if I've seen that or not. I don't think I have.
That was awesome.
So let's see a couple more things that we're going to get out of here because, like, for Troy, it's like 3:00 in the morning or something. I'm just kidding.
6:45 in the evening. I got to put dinner on.
There you go. You got to put dinner on. Yeah. A couple more things before we get out of here. Reigns versus Balor, or Reigns versus Cena, and are we getting a triple threat? Phil, and why is this taking so long?
I kind of feel like something's going to happen with this Balor match, and we're still going to end up with Reigns versus Cena at SummerSlam. I'm not sure why they went to the Balor match so soon. I like that Balor is like, no, I'm here for the championship. I'm not here to be a mid-carder. I do like that, but it does feel like they're doing the match too soon. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying not to be concerned about Balor. I hope that, he doesn't go back to being smiling babyface Balor like he was before and waving and, being happy to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Troy, which match do you have a preference, or are you good with whatever they do here?
Reigns versus Cena has a hell of a lot of intrigue for me. There's obviously all their stuff from a couple of years ago where Cena kind of came out and just schooled Reigns within that promo, and to see where Reigns is now, to have him come back in the back and forth. Reigns versus Balor, I'm excited for. It feels like Reigns hasn't had much to do, if you like post whatever his last, I can't remember what his last major feud was, but there's a whole lot of time between now and SummerSlam. So it kind of makes sense to have Balor come in and just immediately kind of, aim for the king, if you like. Like Balor said, he's not coming back to just be a mid-card. He's coming in to win belts. He's coming in to go for the big one. Why not go for, the big one? So yeah, whilst I wish I kind of held off on this a little bit, it makes sense. Roman doesn't have much to do until SummerSlam. We can't have like lots of filibuster between now and then. So there's got to be something fairly high profile to fill that gap.
You come for the king, you best not miss. So don't miss. Yeah, it kind of feels like you said, Reigns has beat everybody. Here's an idea. This is a good idea. Okay. So Reigns maybe can beat him in a triple threat. He could stack them up and pin them, soundly defeat them. And then a month later, Cena can come back and say, and we all go, oh, and like we did with Edge, because you know what I mean?
Maybe you can make a shirt. Maybe make him a shirt about it.
Stack him and beat.
Just an idea.
I'm just, I don't know. I mean, and if he's now got two bona fide contenders where he didn't have before, why do a triple threat? Stretch it, go 2 shows from now, and just keep rolling, because he's got to get to Mania, because everybody and their brother believes it's Reigns versus his cousin at Mania. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but everybody. But in order to get there, you got to stretch it. You know what I mean?
I mean, whatever it's going to be at Mania, I've got tickets for it. So,
man, Troy's ready, baby. And I don't like to end on a down note, but I got to hit you with this, because Nikki ASH equals. It's not personal. I like her. But 2 seconds after she loses, she gets up and cuts a promo in the ring talking about, I believe in myself. I know I can beat you. You just lost, you idiot. Like, she's not an idiot, but like the character is a complete buffoon. Whatever small, minuscule thing they had me caring about her is gone because now the crowd's like, oh, she's stupid. I didn't know she was stupid. Now, Phil, she feels like a freaking idiot now. No fault of her own, but she feels like a doofus at this point.
I was afraid of this. And I said this, when she cashed in, I was like, this is great for Nikki. I love Nikki. I want her to have, a relevant push. And I think putting the title on her is a good idea. There aren't many great baby faces in the women's division right now. It's fine. You could do things with this and make this work. But when you constantly make all of your baby faces look like they're lucky and they win by fluke, and then you go out of your way to make them a loser, it just doesn't work. Watching her go out in this main event and Charlotte basically no-sell all of her offense and then beat her down after the match, it just does nothing for her. It does nothing for her. And I mean, she could come back and beat her at SummerSlam. Who knows?
Who cares?
I just think everything this week is indicative of how poorly they book baby faces.
I mean, Troy, I don't know why I should care about her anymore. And the fact that they let Charlotte, I know Charlotte's heel, and I just made that big speech about how we're supposed to hate heels, but like she talked so far down to her, like she was demeaning her. And I'm like, that's kind of not called for. You could have just said, I don't have time for this. I beat you one time, I'm out. But no, she's like, what did you expect? What happened? I'm like, okay, that's salt in the wound. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of this.
I hate it. And it's disappointing because I'm all for Nikki being champion.
Yeah.
But why put the belt on her, then go out of your way to make her look like the stupidest person there? And it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Charlotte or whoever. Like, why do it? Just demeaning. Like I think there was a live show last week or earlier this week where there was like actively loud booing towards Nikki when she came out.
Yeah,
and it's just I don't know. It's not nice to see. It's not nice to hear. It's terrible to watch, as you say. Like having her not only get beaten, but then sort of beat down afterwards and just berated and belittled and just it's not believable. And especially after coming out and making that whole speech like she did on Raw, where she came out and was just kind of like very inspired, like very humbled, like, I fell back down, I got back up, and I believe in myself, and you guys can do the same. And that was really nice. But then just to have them literally take a big steaming dump on it within the same show,
Yeah, I mean, the big difference here, I mean, and to go back to what we were talking about earlier when Hangman lost. When Hangman lost, it took a lot to beat Hangman. It wasn't like he just lost. You made him look great in defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki didn't look great here, and I think she didn't look great in the match, and she definitely didn't look great afterward. There was a cool little nice touch of them having her get beat down in front of the fan with her sign up. That's cool, but it only works if you give her a road up from here, and I just don't trust them to do that.
No. Hurricane worked. Rosie worked. Superheroes in Training worked. Santino Marella worked. Eugene worked. And it worked because at no point that I can recall did any of them go, we're just playing around. When Nikki puts this stuff on and flat out tells you, this is just what I'm doing, no one's going to cheer for that. You have to be all in. She has to be all, and they have to tell her, you're all in. You're living this superhero thing. Don't even talk about what you did before. This is who you are now. When they reference who you were before, you say, I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Nikki ASH.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, you're Nikki Cross. I've never heard of her. You got to commit to it. Then the crowd will go along. But when they know that you're not in it and you're just wearing it because they told you to, it's not going to work. That's why, in my opinion, it's not working now, because Santino, as goofball as that was, never went
lived and breathed.
Never went, I'm just messing
living
around.
the gimmick.
Never. He committed to it, which the fans are like, screw it. You know what? I appreciate it. And they were in. It's not going to work, Phil, as long as they keep having her do this peek behind the curtain nonsense. She's got to be all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't even understand, why are you still calling her Nikki if she's wearing a mask?
Right. That feeds into it.
You don't call Batman Bruce Man, do you? Because
Bruce
Batman
Man.
or Bruce Wayne. Do you know what I mean? Like
I am Bruce Man.
I'm Bruce Man. I'm Man of Wayne. Like, no, it's Batman or it's Bruce Wayne. Like, I don't know, man.
That's
and
good.
just the thing is, you're saying like her not kind of like putting this kind of, oh yeah, well, I came out of this and this, that, and the other. Like, it was her idea. So
Right,
why
yeah.
would you not be committed to that?
Right.
Why would you not be all in on that? If that's not something that they fed you. This is something she went to them with and they bought into it. So why would she not then be into it?
The first time Brodus Clay came out in the what did they call him? The Funkasaurus thing?
The Funkadactyls.
Right? Yeah. And by the way, kids, he's got some wacky politics. I'm just saying. But anyway, it's a side reference. But he talked about the first time he came out, he's getting booed and stuff. And then someone jeered at him and he turned around to the crowd and said, "Oh, my bad." And they started laughing because he was in the character. He never once said, "I used to be this big tough guy and now I'm this." So it worked for him too because he committed to it. Mm-hmm. And it's just another example of how you have to commit to it. And for whatever reason, she's being told, "We want you to keep going out there and cut these heartfelt promos about how you're fighting against the odds." I'm like, stop. You're dying in front of a live crowd. I can't believe, actually I can, I guess, but I can't believe they don't hear it.
What they should be hearing is what we discussed last week and have her do a 180. Have her come round, have her turn to the dark side, have her go anti-hero, have her go fully, and just, even if you have to get spooky Alexa Bliss involved, which there's backstory there already. Spooky Bliss. Like, but get that involved. There's history there already. But you know what I mean? And just, like, even to your point where you're saying, they still reference her as Nikki. Well, if she's meant to be a superhero, why would you reference her as that? But maybe there's constant reminder from people, oh, hang on, Nikki. Well, that's not my name. And she starts to remember, oh, no, hang on, who was I? Oh, this is who I was. And she goes back to a sanity gimmick and just goes on a tear up. I don't know. Like,
I love it.
I think they won't, but they can still salvage this. They can do something really, really clever and entertaining here. And I know they absolutely won't. Having said that, in 6 to 8 months' time, when they do it, I'll be sat here eating a serving of my own words.
I just don't think it'll happen as splendidly as we describe. So,
yeah. Hey, oh.
You want to wrap that part up for me, Phil? What do you think?
No, I would just said, I don't know.
Me neither. SmackDown 2.13 to the week before is 2.31. Weird how that works. Raw's 1.81, down a scoosh from 1.9 million. There's your ratings, kids. We've got 2.5 minutes for an open floor, so Troy can go eat food. So, what do you got, guys? Make us Mook. Everyone, please welcome local indie pro wrestling sensation Mook, the BTSG, Marcus Cunningham, to the chat. Mook, you're the man. Mook's a great guy. Please go give him a follow on Facebook. Good dude. Even to have her aspiring until she actually starts making the save, because that's what heroes do. Yeah. And then maybe at some point she's saving somebody and then says, "Well, aren't you going to thank me?" And it's like, "Well, I already thanked you." "Well, maybe you didn't thank me enough." And then that's good. I'm going to write it so much better.
Yeah, this is a salvageable gimmick, even if you want to keep her babyface. It's salvageable, but you have to get Charlotte out of it. You can't keep going, okay, well, this is all just a means to get Charlotte back into the title picture. If you're going to make Nikki champion, let her be champion and let her actually beat some challengers.
Mm-hmm.
Toby says when Vince gets finished laughing at Nikki in a few months, they will wish her well in her future endeavors.
Look at that's the blue. That's the blue costume on.
And then in a few months they bring it to him and say, "Hey boss, we've got what? She's still here? I forgot about that. Let's show her the door." I mean, it's terrible. Ray, we can always count on you with an open floor question. Naughty by Nature or Onyx? And Phil, I asked this week, when Cole wins, when Cole wins the belt like Troy, will you FaceTime me and watch him do the happy holla back dance?
Cole wins the NXT Championship, which belt is he winning?
I think that's what he's talking about. At this point, I think Ray's happy with whatever belt Adam Cole.
I don't think he will be NXT champion again anytime soon. I don't think he will be NXT champion again. Honestly.
Oh,
Ever.
Wow.
Woo. That's a hot take.
Because at this point, he's got to move up eventually. He cannot stay in NXT forever. And if he doesn't stay in NXT, then he might leave the company. Maybe. I don't know.
I like how you took a Stewie from Family Guy. Just yeah, that's good stuff. I'm okay with that. Because, his girl's working somewhere. I'm sure they probably got a spot for him. I'm just saying.
To answer Ray's initial question, that Naughty by Nature or Onyx, Naughty by Nature all day, every day.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that. Naughty by Nature, Trudge is the man.
I don't think Ray wants to hear from you now, Phil. You just crushed him. So you ruined his dreams and his aspirations. Let's see. Alma mentioning Dusty Hill passing away yesterday. Yes. Big time bass player for ZZ Top. They were playing ZZ Top in the crowd. Like before the show started, they were playing all kinds of music before the show, and it didn't occur to me why. And then someone looked at me and said, "Dude, Dusty Hill died." And I'm like, "Oh, it sucks."
Also, Joey Jordison, drummer from Slipknot, day before as well.
I saw that. Yeah.
I didn't realize how much health conditions and stuff. He was suffering from MS and had lost the feeling in his legs.
I didn't know that.
It's crazy. So terrible shame.
Tim is asking for your professional opinion, Phil. Will there be some big trades tonight in the draft?
I don't think that there will. If at best I can see the Warriors trying to trade their pick. They don't really need it, so I could see them trading it. But other than that, nothing off the top of my head that I could think of.
All right, we've got one more. Someone hit me with something good, baby, and then we're going to take it home on that. So somebody. By the way, Phil said, or Ray said, Phil hurts my feelings. So
you say that now until he's up on the main roster getting all those dream matches that you want.
Getting all those dream matches, beating Roman Reigns, winning the WWE Championship.
Come on, getting rolled up by Jeff Hardy.
Or that. Yeah, I was trying to make, chicken salad. Phil's making something else from the chicken. I'm just saying.
Go, man.
Yeah. So do they have that saying over there, Troy? Chicken salad or chicken?
I enjoy a chicken salad.
Okay, there you go.
A saying for it, but yeah, I've been known to love a chicken salad.
Yeah. All right. This is where we take it home, everybody. Jordan or LeBron? Jordan all day, every day.
Listen, you know what city I'm from. LeBron is not a thing in this city. Only GOAT town here. Jordan is the GOAT in this city, and if you believe that LeBron is in this city, is GOAT in the city, then you should move to another town. That's just what it is.
Get out!
Get out of here.
Troy,
Jordan's statue is in this city, so doesn't answer that question.
That's like living in Philly and saying you don't like Rocky. Excuse me, what?
Sorry, what?
Yeah. So Troy, just go ahead and say Jordan because you're outvoted anyway. So,
it is Jordan.
Thank you. Well said. All right, kids, we're going to get out of here. Gentlemen, thank you as always. Phil, remind the kids out there where you can be found on the internet machine. Hit them.
You can find me on Twitter at PhilDio616. You can find my writing at Bleacher Report and Daily DDT.
And Troy, tell them about the pod you have, my friend.
Produce the podcast, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on most, if not all, streaming services at Untitled Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch, and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod. And we will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary in about 3 weeks' time, and we will be kicking that off with something very special, which is a retro watch back of Lucha Underground from the very first episode.
Very cool. We were in the crowd last night, and I had to show my buddy Gary Angelico's dive from the balcony on Lucha Underground that night because he'd never seen it. I'm like, dude, watch this guy. Like, we were watching him in the ring. I said, dude, watch this. Oh, it's mind-blowing. Still one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Phil and Troy, thank you as always, my friends. And please, kids, don't forget about Phil also and Troy, Tom Clark 6M podcast. New episodes drop every Tuesday. So, guys, thank you once again for hanging out.
Much appreciated. Thank you for having us.
All right, kids, that's going to do it here for us. Again, thanks to my guests. We want to thank everybody for hanging out here today. Thanks for watching this very special Thursday edition of the show. You can tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I won't be here. So if you want to come hang out, go ahead and have at it. Go with God, my friend, but I won't be here. So there you go. So everybody, please have a great weekend. Stay tuned to social media for Tom Clark's Main Event and Tom Clark 6M podcast. We try to keep you guys updated as much as we possibly can. Thanks everybody for your support. Please go check out tinyurl.com/Tom Clark Pods, PODS. Buy some merch, get a tee, post a picture or video of yourself wearing said tee, drinking out of a cup. Bam, there she is. And I'll put it all over my social media as well. And you can say you contributed to a worthy cause. Tom's bank account. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to get the logos out there. That's all I'm trying to do. All right, kids, that's it for us. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll see you next week. Next time, Tom Clark's Main Event.